Alright, hey everybody, with Mass Effect 2 on its way just in a few hours or so, I thought I could just make a video game review for Mass Effect 1. So, let's get started. For Mass Effect 1, you're Commander Shepard, and you're part of the Alliance military, which is the military for the humans, pretty much, because now everybody gets along, blah blah blah, we're not killing each other, so we think. Going on, we have to fight the better enemy, the aliens, the guys out there. So, with that being said, you're introduced as a new character. You know, you're commander of a not commander of a ship, not yet. And you're partaking in a mission where you're going to become Spectres. And what Spectres are, that they're the sheriffs of the galaxy. They get to break the rules whenever they want, wherever they want. If they have a good enough reason, they can get away with it. So that's pretty good. A lot of people want that status. For humans, there has been no Spectres, so this is big news for the humans. They're like, oh wow, we're gonna get our first Spectre. Wahoo! Not the case. Things go wrong. A lot of corruption, a lot of betraying, and it gets framed onto you, making it look like you failed the mission, you failed this, you failed that, things exploded, that person died, so they don't want you to become the Spectres. With that being said, it's now your job to bring down this one villain, this antagonist, if you want to call him that, and make sure that he gets put on trial or gets the justice that he deserves. And with that being said, the character is Saren, and he's a Turian Spectre, a highly respected Turian Spectre, which is has done a lot of missions. He's seen his time, and he believes he's helping out the galaxy, but in reality, he's only jeopardizing it and bringing it to its initial doom. So, through the game, you're going to be meeting a lot of characters. You'll be meeting Krogans, Ernok Rex, Garrus Vakarian, Liara T'Soni, which is an Asari, Ashley Williams, which is just a rough and tough soldier, and Kaidan Alenko. He's a biotic, a human biotic. So, the reason why I mention those is because those are characters that you'll be using throughout missions, and you'll be speaking to them, realizing what kind of lives they lived, things like that. You know, they've been. How did they get to the Alliance? What did they do? Maybe not the Alliance, but how they've gotten to where they've gotten, like Liara T'Soni, Ernok Rex, things like that. So, and you can have deep immersed conversations with them, ask them dialogue options, and that's what really struck me for the first time, was the dialogue options of saying something, but you get something else. So for, I don't know, you'd be having a conversation with a guard, and the guard said, no weapons in this room unless I say so. You decide to give him a smart aleck remark, and on the bottom it will say, like, no. So you click on no. Your response in the character will be, you can kiss my ass. Totally different, brings a whole new perspective of a game or dialogue into the game. Kind of shocks you in a weird way, makes you think you're funny, which is even better. So, I really enjoyed the dialogue. The voice acting was superb. What else was there? The gameplay. The gameplay is set out like a third-person shooter. So personally, I was a soldier class, and I was able to use all the weapons, including heavy armor, which helped me a bit. Now, that doesn't mean that you want soldiers, like just rough and tough soldiers in your squad. You want to balance out your squad. So, like any other RPG, you want to have, per se, let's go to Dragon Age. In Dragon Age, if you're the warrior, you'd have the mage, the rogue, and somebody else. Makes sense? For Mass Effect, it's the same way. For a pretty much good initial team, you will want to have a biotic and a tactician. And what that'll do is that it'll help you with your sabotage attacks, plus your biotic pulls, lifts, barriers, things like that. While you're shooting them, they're getting lifted up into the air, which helps. So you don't want to just like fill up your group with soldiers, because, you know, battles might end up differently. You might have a lot of trouble going against biotics. You may have a lot, it may be easy, may be hard, whatever the case may be. You just, it'll be different for everyone. And that's kind of what I like about, that's what I like about Mass Effect. It's a different experience for everybody. Initially, the same story is the same. Like, if you play through the same story, or play through the main story, it will be the same for everyone. Now, if you do side quests, it is up to you to make decisions on your own. If you want to kill people, if you want to let them live, say that you owe me a favor, things like that. and things like that are going to take you into Mass Effect 2 and ultimately Mass Effect 3. So the decisions that you make throughout all these games, these 3 games, will decide what happens to the next, which puts a different turn to everything, because now the people that are kind of gun-hardy can't say, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't kill this guy because he's going to be valuable to me. Maybe he's some high-respecting officer or something like that. So it puts a whole new turn to the game, which really throws it around. The cons of the game. There was one big con, and that was the frame rate. The game could not keep up with itself. Simply said, for the 360, I haven't tried it on the PC, but for the 360, the game couldn't keep up with itself. You'd be halfway through a battle, and the game would chunk up, and you'd lose a chunk of health, and the guy's somewhere else. So, another problem, probably the second biggest problem, was texture loading. So texture loading was a problem that we had when launch games were coming out for the 360. 2007, it shouldn't have been a problem, but at the same time, this game is huge, so it's expected. These little problems here and there, getting stuck on crates, things like that, not being able to move, those are things that you can kind of look over just because it's Mass Effect. You've got a great storyline, immersive conversations with characters, the character design, the level out system is pretty good. The inventory wasn't fully there. I mean, it was really hard to navigate through just when you had a shitload of stuff, and it was just such a pain to sell everything or just destroy. So with that, with Mass Effect 2, they changed it, so that's pretty good. So leveling your character is pretty actually no, it's not that different from any other RPG. What happens is that with everything you do, talking to people, shooting people, scaring people, having sex with people, you get experience. Simple as that. You level up your character, and there you go. There's different options that you can choose. So for a biotic to level up, it'll be totally different compared to the soldier leveling up system. For soldier, it'll concentrate on weapons, charm and intimidate, things like that, commando, melee attacks, while for a biotic, it'll concentrate on lift, barriers, pulls, things like that, things that'll help that character out. So the charm and intimidate dialogue options were pretty helpful. If you had them, what they were that an intimidating dialogue option was you could threaten people at the most extreme. So you could pull a gun on their face and say, hey, no, it's my way or the highway. A paragon dialogue option was you kind of pat them on the back, you may persuade them, things like that. That's really helpful. So it really does change the game. If you're paying attention, you could get yourself out of firefights, essentially. So, to rate this game, I would give it a 9.5. Just because it's there, it was missing something, and that was the fact that there was just some frame rate issues, texture loading. I mean, the soundtrack was fantastic. I mean, I forgot to mention that, but fantastic soundtrack. I fully recommend this to anybody that wants to try any RPG that's new to 360 or new to any RPG. It is a bit different from Final Fantasy, Baldur's Gate, Level of Dragoon, or that Dragoon game. I remember that way back in PS1. But it does put a whole new spin to what we believe an RPG is. So I think everybody should try it out before they try out Mass Effect 2, because it'll totally change the way you see things. So, fully recommend this. 2 thumbs up. I think everybody should give it a go, even if you're a shooter up kind of guy. Because it's not for the totally sophisticated, I guess, if you could call that. I mean, hell, I'm stupid, and I was catching on. I was like, oh, this game's really good. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Any comments or questions, just put them down below. You know, rate this video, subscribe maybe over there, and I hope to see you guys on Xbox Live. Ask me how it is. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna be getting Mass Effect 2 tomorrow, the collector's edition. So I'll see you guys later, and have a good night.